It's Sunday, August 21st, 2011, and we're here at Roscoe's where they have the killer French toast. And just when you thought we didn't eat on Only at Brunch, heaven on earth. We also got the production team, high class, on top of it. We even took the time to go and get that high-tech, high-def camera. That's right, we've made improvements. We've got the light, we've got the sound, and it's daytime. Today we are talking about stereotype, the 10 rules of hooking up, and I sit down with a one-on-one with Eric from Edge Alliance to discuss their Bar AIDS event on August 25th. All the things that you'll see only at Brunch.
Jared, the director, wants his French toast back.
Only at Brunch.
So, how was everyone's market days?
Awesome.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
My first one, not as many people as I had thought, but I'm assuming probably the weather had a lot to do with that, especially on Saturday. I don't know about anyone else, but I played Twister with the porn stars at Steamworks. One of the funnest times of my life. It was just a different experience, you know, to be up there. All the money raised goes to the Chicago House. Is that what it's called?
Chicago House or Howard Brown.
Yeah.
Market is always a high energy, fun time to meet new people.
And it's very different than Pride.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
Pride is like your wham bam one day sort of, you got to get it all in. Market days, I think, is more designed for people that live in the city, live in the neighborhoods, come spend the day out.
Absolutely.
I bartend, so I was in the bar a lot. So the rain actually helped a lot of the businesses on Halstead Street. It's sort of an oxymoron, but people still wanted to come out. And once they were out and it was raining, they went into the local establishments.
I like it too because, you know, a lot of people say, what's the point of it? Well, A, does there really need to be one?
Thank you.
And B, why not just another day to celebrate our neighborhood and, you know, us?
No, what it is every single neighborhood has their street fair.
Yes.
So that's just, you know, it happens to be East Lakeview's street fair. You know, so I mean, of course, that's the reason for it. I mean, if, you know, Wicker Park can have one and Logan Square can have one, well, damn it, East Lakeview can have one too.
Piggyback off of that, it's also a great way on a platform to, like, you know, advertising businesses, organizations, nonprofits, get their name out there, and just to funnel money back into the community also.
And I will say that during Pride, there was a lot of issues that came up after Pride about violence on the street and police presence and crowd control. I did not, I don't know about you, hear one negative thing about how market days went.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything, and I didn't see any of the behavior that I encountered at Pride at market days.
Yeah.
It seemed market days almost went off without, you know, with a hitch. So, as many of you know, there was a horrible stage collapse at the Indiana State Fair on August 13th. 5 people were killed and 45 were injured. Unfortunately, one of the people lost was a local GLBT activist, Christina Santiago. Her and her partner, who was injured, faced a lot of hard times during the accident and afterwards. Indiana does not recognize Illinois civil unions, so her partner, Alicia Brennan, was not able to get records from the coroner. Initial reports said that the family of Miss Santiago wasn't working with her partner either. This raises a question about the media jumping to conclusion and making false statements or not fully giving a story before the entire story has developed. Is that what happened here with the media?
I think, and I'm just going to jump in a little bit because Christina Santiago was actually a very good friend of mine. This tragedy, Christina lived her life to be an advocate. She worked with LCCP at Howard Brown. She was part of Amigas Latinas. She helped organize the Dyke March. She was a huge force of change in this community. And to lose her at such a young age, she had just received the 30 under 30 from the Windy City Times. And to lose her is terrible. When things like this happen, the first thing that you want to say is, what's the lesson? What am I to take from this besides the grieving and the loss? What happened with Alicia Brennan, what happened with her family was that Alicia was also seriously injured and was in and out of consciousness, was in ICU, had to be told in one of her moments of consciousness what had happened. And then, of course, Christina's family comes in from out of state. Now, regardless of how the families get along with each other, regardless of how accepting Christina's partner's family was, the message for me and the lesson to be learned is that this is the exact reason that we need a national marriage law. This isn't about people trying to indoctrinate people. This isn't about us wanting more. This is about what's fair and just.
Right.
You know,
and I would agree. I think we would all probably
Absolutely.
agree at this table. I think the bigger issue, though, aside from that, so I don't want to say the bigger issue. A similar issue that parallels that again is, did the media
sensationalize it?
Yeah. Was certain things perpetuated, or was it sensationalized? When
it seemed like they looked like they wanted to jump on it.
Right.
You know, I mean, make an issue where there was a non-issue, and you know, you notice this across the board, whether it be CNN or whatever, and you hear Jon Stewart's really good about it. It's this 24-hour news cycle where there has to be a story. There always has to be a story, and the thing is, you know, sometimes it's just not. Sometimes you need to let it ride. Sometimes you need to confirm your facts before going out, because then you get all these people that, you know, just it snowballs, and then on top of the tragedy at hand, then you play this horrible game of damage control and rumor control, and that in itself can be as bad as the tragedy. At this time, no, it wasn't. You know, I mean, the loss of Miss Santiago was definitely the real tragedy here. So.
And just to piggyback off of that, like, I didn't have the privilege of getting to know her as well as you did, but we did send a panel together, and we were speaking to middle-aged kids about you know, their coming out stories, and like she really shared some of the most intimate details of her life, and it's like we had plans to work together with her organization and my organization, and then like I found out doing market days that she was one of the 5 that passed away, and it's like she was only 29. Like, you truly, really do not know how long you have on this earth.
And another thing that you have to do, and I do want to say this, is that if you are partnered, Alicia and Christina had a beautiful relationship that was so well respected. You need to see a lawyer, you need to get yourself protected, you need to get a will, because you cannot assume that should there ever be an accident, forbid, that you will be protected or that your family will be cooperative. Right. Under these moments of stress, you never know how your family might react.
Brian, did you?
I think to answer your question, I think the media does this all the time. It's always about who gets the story first. Yep. Everyone wants the attention. If you're selling a magazine, you want to sell your magazine first. I think it's very common. It doesn't matter what the story is.
I broke the story. Whether or not, you know,
right,
it's like I broke the story, and if they have to redact the story later, that's fine, but, you know.
You want to be the first one on the
editors
stand.
also, because on the side of freelance writing for Mini City Times, also it's an editor's job to catch, like, did you check all the facts? Did you speak with the family? Did you check all your sources? Also, like, you know, reporters, you know, have a responsibility also, but an editor's job is to catch the reporter's mistakes and facts and, like, make sure he's not, you know, that's yellow journalism, sensationalism. Having a story when the story really isn't there.
Right. I completely agree. So Christina was obviously very passionate about her community. She was passionate in her work. She was fierce. She was dedicated. However, is it always acceptable to wave your rainbow flag in the workplace? How many of you are out at work?
I work for a gay.
I would agree. There was a recent article in the Red Eye, in the closet 9 to 5. And we will obviously have much more deeper discussion in later segments on this show about being out at work, where we're going to bring in some experts and whatnot. But as far as the hot topic concern, real quick, appropriate to be out at work? Is it personal preference?
I think it's a personal preference. I mean, for me personally, I've always been out at work. But, you know, if you're working in Tennessee at a very conservative law firm with a bunch of 60-year-old, you know, homophobes, then I think you have to somewhat watch it. I mean,
you know, I'm an independent contractor. I have several different clients, some of whom, including here at Roscoe's, you know, obviously I'm out at work. But there are some of my clients, absolutely not. And it's not necessarily that I'm scared that, you know, I'm going to lose the contract or anything like that. I want my sexuality to be a non-issue. You know, I mean, if I do a good job or if I do a crap job, it doesn't matter. I don't want it to be, oh, well, you know, of course he did a good job. He's gay. Of course he screwed it up. He's gay. That's a non-issue, you know, and that's why I make the conscious decision to let certain clients know and not let certain clients know.
I don't want to call you out necessarily, but what you're trying to do is play both sides of that coin.
Fair
I
enough.
mean, you're trying to say, I'll do it when it's convenient for me, but I won't when it's not. And I just question what kind of advocacy that is long term. I heard once, and I think it's very true, that the most politically active thing a gay person can do is live their life as an out gay person 24 hours a day.
But
That's
but
the
I
most
have a question
politically
about that.
active
Like,
thing they
you know,
can
I
do.
feel like, you know, I see your point, but I definitely see Craig's point. But like in some jobs, like such as corporate America, it's not the fact that it's like I'm going to be discriminated against. If so, that's unfortunate. It's like I don't be known as that gay guy. And like
Right.
I feel like, you know,
Well,
I don't ask people if they're straight. So, you know,
Okay.
if it's not brought up, I don't feel a need to bring it up.
Yeah, it's
and I
a
can
question of
definitely see that with
relevance.
certain jobs. Exactly.
Well,
yeah.
I think one major issue that would influence a lot of people's decision to be out at work or not, or having it be part of the water cooler talk at work, is if we knew there were legal measures in place to protect us.
Thank
I mean,
you.
there are some jurisdictions, I mean, even at the city level, where you can be fired for being gay.
Not in this city.
I mean,
Not-
not in
not-
Chicago,
no,
but
but
there,
not in the state
there
of
are
Illinois.
several cities in the
Yes,
United States,
yes.
and then even there's state legislation that allows for the same thing.
We were afforded a certain luxury in Illinois because of the Discrimination Acts,
Right.
but there are some states that aren't. And
Absolutely.
as an independent contractor, they don't have to give a reason for letting me go. You know, I mean, I'm at will completely, and you know, there's no rhyme or reason. They can just stop.
And they can give you another reason that they make up for,
Sure.
you
You
know,
know,
not
they
having
don't-
it
they
That's
don't
the
have
real
to
reason,
give
like
any reason.
sexuality.
What I find very interesting is that I often will listen to people talk about their kids and their husbands, and then I feel, you know, what did you do this weekend? Do I say that I went to market days?
Right.
Do I say that I went on a date with this guy that I've been interested in a long time? Do I say those things? Am I allowed to? If they mentioned their children, am I allowed to mention the people that are important in my life?
For me personally, like I'm just, you know, well, obviously, like I work for ScarCry.com when you see time, so like it's encouraged to be out, like that's crazy.
Right.
But like, you know, if I was working in a corporate America job or in a situation where I didn't feel like it was the right thing, I always err on the side of conservative and being very private about my life at the workplace. Like I share a little bit is because because I've attempted before, because you have to share a little bit because I've noticed the more private you're about your life, the more people are interested in it.
Yeah.
Well,
But,
I don't think just
yeah.
because you don't talk about it or wave a gay pride flag when you come
Yeah.
into the office that you're necessarily in the closet.
No.
I mean, you don't really have to say anything.
Be comfortable and be yourself.
Exactly.
If,
No,
if
that's
people
an
want to
important
engage
thing.
you in a social level while you're at work, great. If they ask you a question, answer it honestly.
Right.
I don't think they would ask a question in a malicious way. Thankfully, in the state of Illinois, we are protected should anything go down.